Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Relatable Radio Hour with me, Dr. Green. Thank you so very much for joining. As you all can see, it's not just me tonight. Not that it's always me, it's not. I always have a guest, but I got a lot of guests tonight. And these are some familiar faces. These are some of my closest friends that have come to lend some time to discuss something that I think is really important to discuss, especially where we are as a society. Something that has been coming up a lot is the fact that Black men are all the same. And of course, that's not true because every Black man has a different personality, has a different story, has a different background. And so I say it's a topic. It's not really necessarily a topic, but this is more so an example and a chance for you all to observe and just to listen to the four of us talk about our differences and our backgrounds and things that we hold important and things that we value. And I thought that this would be a perfect opportunity to do this since this is something that comes up so much. And so, with that being said, I want to introduce to you all some familiar faces. I've had each and every one of these guys on my show before, but I'm going to introduce them all again. Jared Wright, John Hardy, who is also DJ Vision. I really wasn't supposed to say his name. It's DJ Vision, and Johnny Flemming, who have all been on the show before. Guys, how are you all doing?
Cool.
Thank you for having me back for a third time.
Okay,
Us back, rather.
okay, that sounds like a brag there, but glad to have you here.
Only humbly, a
Okay,
humble
well, so these are guys I've known literally since elementary school. And actually, that's kind of where we're going to start really with this conversation. And I'll start with you, DJ Vision. I would like for you, first off, just to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself again. And yeah, we'll go around and kind of start in that direction. So, DJ Vision, tell us a little bit about yourself.
All right. Um, the name is DJ Vision. I kind of grew up in a very normal situation, but it may be considered unique in terms of a black man in Mississippi or a black man in America. Your idea is not typical. I grew up in a two-parent household. Um, I lived in the suburbs, but it was actually I won't say a suburb. I lived in a subdivision that was all black, but it was a middle class household. I met Dr. Green here, as he mentioned before, in kindergarten, and it's funny because all three of these individuals here on the show here, I met in order. I met Dr. Green in kindergarten. I met Johnny Flemming in the first grade, and I met Jared in the second grade. So I just realized that right now. So that's kind of cool. But at any rate, um, yeah, I had an older brother who was very influential in my life. So I had the benefit of having two positive male figures in my life, which basically molded me. You know, helped me to stay out of trouble and stay out of negative situations. Um, but I guess starting from elementary, North Jackson Elementary School was a good elementary school, pretty good school. A lot of families there, a lot of kids there came from two-parent household families, academic focus, pretty good situation. Um, what else can I say about North Jackson? Very loving environment, and also, we were kind of sheltered. Uh,
I don't think kinda needs to be said. I think we can all.
well, we were, I sheltered and we were protected from some of the outside forces in life,
Mhm.
to say the least. But it was a pretty good experience. It was false sense of reality. Once
Mm.
which goes into the next school, middle school, Powell Middle School, for example, was kind of a rude awakening. Um, we was forced to face reality, kids from different backgrounds. Coming from where we came from, we were kind of looked at as, what would you say?
Soft.
Well, soft, and we were also kind of targeted too, because a lot of the kids thought we were well off. You know, they thought we were rich. So we were kind of bullied, so to speak, and ostracized from our sheltered viewpoints. So we experienced a lot of growing pains, but some good came out of that too. We was forced to see life for what it is. We picked up, sharpened our instincts. So, you know, one good thing came from that. I can detect danger, so to speak. You know, I know how, I can see when something's coming. So that was a good thing that came out of that. But hey, I'm being,
yeah, I guess that's good. Yeah, that's good.
But you know, it was kind of tough for me in particular because a lot of what I was taught, to be in terms of doing well in academics, staying on the straight and narrow, was socially amongst my peers was kind of frowned upon. So I kind of went into a shell and didn't really feel free to express myself out of fear of being bullied or shunned. So it kind of hindered some of my growth. Going on from Powell Middle School, going to high school, Callaway, it's kind of a refresher because it was kind of back to my roots. I was able to excel in sports. Kind of found my own my music. A lot of people don't know this about me. I actually sang in the choir. That's kind of where my love for music came from. And I did that for a number of years professionally, from high school to even college.
Yeah, he did.
College and Paulus.
Yeah, I was in a paid professional singing group.
He was a professional singer, Jared. He was a professional singer. You know, whenever we were in high school and things of that nature. So you always had a connection with that music side, and of course, you know, being in a choir. So yeah, it's amazing how those things in life kind of lead us to doing something, you know, into that space. How about you, Jared? And we're talking about, you know, your background, you know, the way that you grew up, and, you know, and also asking the same question I just asked John. What was one of those events that helped change your life? So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So a little bit different from John. I grew up in a split household, so my parents weren't together. But I spent a good bit of time with both of them, I guess. They both actually lived in the same neighborhood, so it was kind of crazy. I could just hop back and forth sometimes. So it wasn't as bad as you would think being, you know, in a separate household, but it was good. You know, I had a pretty good childhood. No, I'm not gonna say pretty good. It was great. It was great. I don't think there was anything that I wanted that I couldn't have access to for a certain period of time. So, I mean, like John said, you know, coming to North Jackson, we were all, you know, I don't want to say well off, but we were all pretty much, you know, sheltered. You know, our parents provided, and we weren't exposed to a lot of crazy stuff out there. So I think we did pretty good in that aspect. But you know, like John said again, we went to Powell, it was different. It was a whole new world. We got exposed to a different side of life. You know, kids that probably didn't have the same kind of opportunities and didn't have the same household and upbringing that we had. We were thrown in the mix with them, and they looked at us like we was like lunch meat. You know, they was coming. They was like, yeah, you know. Look at that little soft boy. Yeah, I'm gonna take his lunch money. So I mean, it was like that on a daily basis. But at least for me, I can say that. But I think where it changed for me, where I actually started to, I guess, find myself really, is when I actually started playing basketball and got in a band. You know, that, meeting you guys along the way, we all did the same things. You know what I mean? I was a little late bloomer in basketball, but I finally came on after a while. So, I mean, that was something that molded me. It gave me confidence. It gave me a sense of self of what I could be, who I could be, and in the band too. Being in that whole environment, that kind of gave me something to strive for too. It was a good environment to be in, even though Powell wasn't just the best experience overall. Years went on, it got better and better and better, So got to Callaway, it started over. Get to 8th grade, you were good, upperclassmen, everything was cool. You had your kind of pick of the litter, what you want to do. It starts over when you get to 9th grade at Callaway. Now you're back at the bottom. Now you're back at the bottom, looking like a piece of meat, and everybody looking at you like, who are you? Like, give me what you got. You know what I'm saying? We don't know you. You ain't nobody. So it was kind of like that kind of attitude. You kind of have to build up from there. You know what I mean? And it wasn't always easy, but it was great at Callaway too. So it was just a growing experience, man. You just have to keep pushing and fighting through, because a lot of times things that happen, you can easily let that just deter you and say, you know what, screw it. I'm finna join this side. I'm finna do that. I'm finna hang with these folks, man, because I'm tired of getting. But it takes some real fortitude inside to say, okay, you know what? I don't like this, but I'm not finna change who I am. You know what I mean? Just so I can fit in and avoid being bullied or avoid being targeted or whatever the case may be. I stay loyal to my clique of friends, and look, I feel like y'all are one of the biggest reasons that I'm where I'm at. So I think
Yeah,
I made that pretty good,
I don't mean to interject at all, but I think that is a really strong point that you're making there, Jared. I think,
Yeah.
just in hearing just you and DJ Vision speak, I mean, we really have rubbed off on each other in a good way. I think
Yeah.
we were really fortunate to, connect and to bond like we did, because we were able to really help each other out in so many different ways.
I like to start this thing off by saying, you guys' perspectives were great. I had a little different perspective and background. I often like to tell people I had the best of both worlds, right? So from a very early age, I was also raised in a single parent household up until I was 12 years old. So let's talk about, everything that happened prior to me being 12. I was raised primarily in the Georgetown community. And if you know what community it is, that's over there by the Lanier area for the local listeners. And if you're not local, you can kind of look it up, Lanier High School. The demographic in that area, it's improving, but at the time it wasn't the best area to be in, especially being raised single parent household with 3 children. So my experiences were very unique and vastly different from both of you guys, because I've seen everything, right? So as we talk about North Jackson, I get over there, it's like, oh wow, this is a whole new world. I'm like Drake, started from the bottom, now I'm here. It was great seeing kids that were, not necessarily like me. I wasn't a bad kid, but everybody's well behaved. Like, what? No, nobody's going to the office. Like, what is this? This is different. Because I did first grade, I did kindergarten at Bar Elementary, which is in that area community that we just spoke about. And then I moved to North Jackson around about first grade, yeah, because that's when I met John. And it was just different. The atmosphere was different. The teachers were different. It's like they cared more. They showed love, more patience, things that I didn't see in pre-K and kindergarten. Actually, I'm grown now, and I can't remember back that far. But life experiences, you kind of remember some things. and then get to Powell Middle School, and it's like, oh, I've been here before. I know what this looks like. This is more familiar territory from what I was used to back in Georgetown, where I primarily grew up for the earlier part of my life. There wasn't any significant experiences at Powell that changed the trajectory of my life because, like I said, I had the best of both worlds. I had seen, drugs. I had seen preteen pregnancies. I had seen that like that's what I grew up with. So just those experiences. But one thing that was cultivated over that time period was friendship, which Jared briefly touched on. And having that friendship is something I never experienced. Now, I'm the youngest of 3 siblings total. And there's a 9-year gap between me and my middle sister. So obviously, I didn't have that sibling camaraderie in my youth that I do in my adult life. So just having that friendship gave me that sibling camaraderie that I didn't even know I needed. And when you have that sibling camaraderie, John touched on it briefly when he spoke about his brother being a major influence for him. Well, my influence was my friends, and I always teach my children, you are the company that you keep. So if you keep like-minded people around you, 9 times out of 10, you're going to find yourself in situations that are favorable to you more so than situations that are not favorable to you. So transitioning that friendship to Callaway, it was just a perfect marriage of my knowledge base from North Jackson, Bartlett Elementary, Georgetown community, moving to the north side of town, being introduced to things that, love and healthier environments, because you are a product of your environment. I'm a firm believer in that. And I do feel like had I not gotten out of that environment, I would probably be one of the negative statistics that you guys see happening all around America right now. So that being said, cultivating those positive relationships, positive friendships, I do feel like molded me into the person that I am today. Because once I transitioned to Callaway, like John said, everybody was in the band. So guess what? I was in the band too. That's what we did. All the way until I actually got a music scholarship to Jackson State University, which was a major imprint and focus on my life because it compelled me to do some things that I never thought I would be able to do. And funny story, I didn't even really want to go to college. The only reason I went to college is because all my friends went to college. That was just the thing to do. So thank God for friendship. But yeah, like I said, just the camaraderie of friendship and building upon life experiences definitely helped propel us to where we are today. So.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more with the bond aspect. It really does, and I'm glad that you tell your children that because it really does make sense. The company that you keep, that's what you become, and I think that's exactly what Jared was kind of shadowing when he said that. So with myself, I was also a product of a single parent home. Shout out to my mom who's probably watching. She did an amazing job with my sister and I.
Mama Green.
Yes, she did an amazing job. Um, to see the sacrifice, especially when you have a single parent just doing everything, to see the sacrifice that she made and others make, you take that to heart, right? And so I think for me, um, everybody said it, North Jackson Elementary School, it was exactly what we're saying that it was. It was a place where you went to school, you didn't have to worry about a whole lot. And it's so crazy because it's like we had bullies, but when we got to that next level, it was like, nah, we didn't have bullies at all. Not at all, actually. And so,
Natural, brother.
yeah, it wasn't a real thing. But as far as as far as my grades, and it was kind of like a badge of honor for me. I'll be honest. I always wanted to make good grades. I felt like I needed to do something productive in school, and so my main focus was always to make good grades. And there was a point where I was, kind of a chub wub, and I had the glasses and the fade and all the 90s stuff. But I didn't really care. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna make good grades. I'm going to make this, a part of who I am. I had a routine. I would get home from school and I would go straight up to my room and do my homework, and then I would watch TV. And that was my routine. That was a routine that I kept going, really all the way until, that middle school time. Middle school, Powell Middle School. We've all said it. The first day, I don't know, you all were really very, very like really nice in your descriptions of this. But that very first day of school at Powell, I was like, oh my gosh, what is going like it was like a jungle. It was like crazy different than where we came from. And I just remember like that very first semester having to get accustomed to everything and having to get accustomed to everything. But I will say a saving grace to, kind of staying true to who I was in elementary was we did have honors classes. So we were around people that were, serious about, keeping their studies up and making good grades. So I didn't feel like I was, in a different space, so to speak. It was just a different environment, but it was around different people that I'd never met before. And I mean, you all know me pretty well at this point. I'm pretty loyal to the friends that I have. And so even in sixth grade, when we talking about, meeting, Monique for the first time, and I'm gonna throw out, Shanika Jones, these are people that I still talk to now, but these are people that we never would have met, had we not gone to Powell, and other people as well, of course. But the trajectory in Powell, you get accustomed to it. I made good grades. I was around different people, but I don't know. It like when it came to like the second semester in sixth grade, I got it. Like I realized, like I was like, oh, okay. This is how real life is gonna be, because it's not gonna be all bubbly and cheery like it was in North Jackson. This is what real life is gonna be. It's going to be like composed of like a real life situation. And I'm gonna skip to my most influential moment that I think about all the time. John and I talk about this all the time. Sixth grade. I'm not gonna name any names because I don't know if they want me to put the business out there. But sixth grade, I took Miss Gentry for I guess the social studies class, and this is guy in the class, and I would get matched up with like kind of like the thugs or whatever, and they were cool with me. Like they didn't like they respected me. They were like, oh, I think the answer is B. What you think, Sherman? They were like that. Like they were like waiting on me to give the right answer. And I'd be like, yeah, that's the right answer. That's the right answer. So one of those guys that was in that group when I would do my work with, he made, I think, 100 on a test. And he looked at the test. I saw it from behind. I saw the test. He was like, yeah, I gotta get this 100, get this 100. And he kept it on the low. He didn't like show anybody. He just said, hey, sure, I got this. Look at this grade. And I was like, oh man, you got the best grade in the class, man. Cause I got like a 97. And he was like, yeah, don't say that. But in that moment, I learned a couple of things. One, my superpower is talking to people and making them feel like, you know, they are more important than they thought they were. Because that guy, he didn't really think a lot of himself. He knew he was a smart kid, but it was like he sought me to give him validation that he was smart. And I just thought, man, that's so crazy that he's trying to get validation from me, and I'm his same age. Like I'm in the same class as he's in. So I realized one, that's a superpower that I have is the ability for people to feel comfortable and for people to feel like, they are validated and things they want to do, they can do it. That was one thing. Second thing is it was a terrible narrative that being a black boy at that time, you are not allowed to be smart. Because why would you go to school and not want to be smart? Why would you not go to school to pass classes or to pass tests? That's the dumbest thing. But they make you feel in that environment, in that time frame,
Yeah.
that you are not allowed to be smart. And I hated that. I hated the fact that he could not outwardly be smart because he feared that if he did, he would be ridiculed. Now, I'm
Mhm.
not saying I was ridiculed. I don't think I was. If I was, they said it. I didn't care. But I was never going to allow anybody's ridicule to make me not be smart or to pass tests. I thought that was the craziest thing. So those are two things that I picked up very early. Transitioning, of course, being in the band, John kind of talked about it. Being in the band in middle school was a great thing. I carried that over to high school. I also joined the choir in that time frame. And I continued to take honors classes, took AP classes. Every year, I had that same mantra where I would do the same routine. I would do the homework and then I would do whatever. But in high school, it's a little different. You got band practice, you got choir practice, you got jobs because, we all had jobs. Nobody mentioned that. I don't know why you didn't. I worked at Subway. I was a sandwich artist. So that was and I worked there for about a year and a half. Worked at Just for Feed, worked at Foot Locker. No, not Foot Locker. What's the other one? Champs.
Champs.
With the Champs. And I worked at Video
I worked at
Library.
Foot Locker.
Yeah, you worked at Foot
Video
Locker. That
library
was it.
was the
Yeah,
first.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, that was important. Like, I got my driver's license in the ninth grade. That was a big deal because, we had the what was that thing called?
Workers permit.
Driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not learner's permit. It was
Yeah, driver's ed.
it's like if you had a job, what was that
Yeah,
called?
workers permit. Like
Workers.
if you
Work
had,
study.
Work study.
if you have a job, you are
Ah,
able to get your driver's license a year early than
what was it
everybody.
called?
Workers permit.
I don't think that was it.
I don't know what it's called, but it sounds like a privilege.
If you were 15 and had a job, you could get your driver's license early. That's the
Mhm.
moral of the story. And I had mine in ninth grade. So I was driving the 89 Corolla, you know what I'm saying, in the ninth grade. So yeah, I know. But it was a good time, lots of responsibilities, all the things. But it paid off. I excelled quite well in high school. I was number six. I graduated number six. We had a class of 281 people. I don't know if you all knew that, but we had 281 graduating seniors. I was so fortunate to be number six in the top 10. That was something that I worked hard for. I was really, really adamant about doing that. I didn't want to let anything stop me from doing those things. And of course, other accolades were pretty cool. I think I was nominated Mr. Senior later on, and well, me and Angel, I got to get Angel on here. Angel, I don't know, you gotta get on my show. I don't know what's going on, but we were uh, most beautiful. Is that what it was called?
You
Most
beat me
beautiful.
out for beauty and bow patches. You beat me
Yeah,
out.
that's
I
what it
remember
was.
that. I remember
Yeah. But that was cool.
I
But I
just
think,
talk to you behind that sounds like.
that.
well, let's we'll get to slow down. But yeah, it was really important for me to do all that stuff. And then of course going to college, going to Mississippi State was a huge change. And I want to get everybody's take on college. We didn't really dissect that. I'll start us off in talking about college.
Ooh.
College was just a real eye opener. It was not Callaway. It was not Powell. It was none of those experiences. It was an experience that I've never had before at that time, to be immersed around people who came from all parts of not just Mississippi, but all parts of the United States and the world. That was an eye opener. I remember being in my psychology class in an auditorium of like 250 people. being in a chemistry class with about 300 people. And I think one of the saving graces that I had getting indoctrinated in college was going to that summer program. Do y'all remember I went to that summer program right before
It
college?
was the Howard Hughes program.
It was a summer bridge
Okay.
program, but it was at Mississippi State. And it was a great program where it really helped you get acclimated to college before college started. So that first semester, I was able to, get my classes and focus. I was an engineering major at that time. Should have never been in engineering, but I was. I don't know what I was thinking. Took calculus one, took calculus two in the spring. It was crazy. I had to learn how to study, had to learn how to focus. So many things I wanted to be involved with. Of course, becoming an alpha was something that was on my to-do list, and I was able to do that to join the illustrious Kappa Beta chapter at Mississippi State Spring '04. I was the BSA president, which is the Black Student Alliance president, and I was a road runner, which was a student recruiter. We actually recruited individuals to come on campus, and we showed them around and everything. But just to be in a space with so many diverse people, it was a crazy experience, but I loved it. We went to parties, we had card games. It's in Starkville, Mississippi, so all you can do is go to restaurants because the actual city is not so great. It's a college town. We had events, we had things of that nature. I did come home quite a lot, probably those first 2 years. Second half, the junior, senior years, not so much. But really, really good times that I am very fortunate to have experienced. Of course, going to basketball games, football games, all of it was just very different. And I'll be honest with you, I'm gonna share this brief story and I'm gonna turn it over to you guys again. One thing that really stuck out to me in college, they had these shuttle buses. Mississippi State's campus, huge. At that time, it was around 17,000 students with about 3,000 black students. So it was enough of us to feel like we weren't alone, but we were still like a small population of the college. I was waiting for a shuttle bus, and I tell this story to a good frat brother of mine all the time. We always laugh about it. I was waiting on the shuttle bus to come, me and some other students. Then this black girl driving this like Geo Metro. It was beat up. It was raggedy, like barely holding on. And it was this white girl, white girl driving this Benz. She had like a convertible Benz, right? She got on her glasses. She's going to, her sorority house or wherever she was going. And she hits the black girl from behind. And so we looking like, oh boy, oh, she just hit that girl's car. Black girl, she gets out the car. It's like, oh my God, you hit my car, blah, 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 blah. White girl stayed in the car. She didn't get out. She didn't do nothing. She just sat in the car, glasses on. She's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. You know what? Look, I'm late for class. Here, call my dad. I'm too late. I'm sorry. I have to go. And we looking like, dang, this girl just left. She just gave her dad's business card and was like, he'll take care of it. And I was like, man, what a stark difference. You know what I mean? I think
Mm-hmm.
about that because I'm thinking like, man, even at that time in life, we were living two different worlds.
Yeah.
This black girl was barely holding on with this Geo Metro, and you got this white sorority girl, driving a convertible Benz, hits her from behind, doesn't even get out of the car to see what's going on with the damage, gives her dad's card and says, "Oh, just call my dad. I'm too late. I late for class." And just and the police came on the campus police came and was like, "Well, where's the girl?" And we were like, "She left." And we were like, "Okay." He was like,
Oh,
"Okay,
okay. All right,
yeah,
carry on.
yeah, carry on." But I
Wow.
Let
think
that
about
happen
that.
in Jackson State. Let that happen in
Right,
Jackson State.
right. So that's my college experience from that bachelor standpoint. Of course, I did go on and uh, got my master's and PhD, but I want to leave it to you all to kind of talk about how life was post that high school phase, and what stuck out to you. What's something that happened in your life that kind of helped your trajectory?
Well, with me, I think I may have a unique experience out of the four that's on here. When I left high school, I went to Hines Community College in Utica, Mississippi, and that campus in particular because I was playing basketball, I played on the basketball team. And for all intents and purposes, everybody looks at their college experience, especially their first year of college, like, man, almost like the highlight of their life. Like, man, college is great. It's the first time they're experiencing it and they got freedom. So they just, it's a good a highlight of their life. With me, it was quite the opposite. It's one of the worst times of my life. The campus, I don't want to, if you're from Utica, I don't want to offend anybody, but the campus sucked. It was terrible. The town, it was nothing to do. One of the biggest social events was going to a gas station and hang out and order food from the Chester's Chicken at the gas station.
John, I just want to stop you just for a second. Like, are you sure you're telling the truth? Like, we're on the show.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
But I'm telling you now, I don't know how it is now, but back in 2000, early 2000s, that's how it was. But I will say this: the people there were great. The people were great. No slight to the people. I had the friends I had there, some of the best. Aside from you guys, some of the best friends there. Just everybody's down to earth. But the experience, just the college experience as a whole, was not great. And but the good side of that is I didn't have anything to do other than to do my work. So my grades were great there. But I couldn't wait to get out of there. So I stayed there one semester and transferred to the Raymond campus, which was closer to home. So that was it was a little bit better. At least I get to go home a lot. So that was cool. But I actually, believe it or not, I actually probably spent more time on Jackson State campus than I did the Raymond campus. So which kind of influenced me to go to Jackson State the next year. So, but that first year, freshman year in college, it was rough. It was a lot of transitioning going on. Wasn't a great experience, but it was positive in the sense of, I made good grades, got my act together, didn't succumb to any kind of negative influences. So, and all in all, it was a benefit to go there.
Yeah, man. Well, Jackson State was completely different. I would say I shouldn't have went to Jackson State my first year. I wasn't ready to be on my own. It was too much freedom, too much partying, too much everything. I had a girlfriend at the time, and we skipped class more than we went. So it was fun, but it was a party school. It was fall semester, Jackson State campus. Come on, man. It was football season. It was a construction zone. That was a bad thing about Jackson State at that point in time. It was under construction, so it wasn't like it was now, nowhere near. We had to walk across construction sites in mud and barbed wire fences, and certain buildings were shut down. You had to walk all the way across campus the other way because this pathway was blocked because they did some construction here. So it was not convenient. So that was another reason why I didn't stay on campus a lot. You would spend all day trying to get to class, and then class is canceled. It's Thursday. Why is class? Oh, it's canceled. Or you can't get to class because they got something going on over here. It's got it blocked off. So now you're 30 minutes late. Hey, let's go somewhere else. Let's do something. Let's go to Metro. Let's go to Metro Center. I probably spent more time my freshman year at Metro Center Mall than I actually spent in the business department at Jackson State. So yeah, it wasn't until second semester freshman year that I actually started doing work. So I got a 1.4 my first semester. I ain't ashamed to say it. I got a 1.4. I earned it though. I earned that 1.4. It was fun for me.
It was fun. That was a ball lesson. My experience was, I would say it was indifferent. It was very unique. So I was in the Sonic Boom of the South on scholarship, and I had no life. If you were in the boom in the early 90s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s, you didn't have a life. It was 24/7, eat, sleep, you know the rest, Sunny Boom. That's all we did. Um, so my social life was non-existent. Uh, Enjoyed every moment of being in the band. Wouldn't trade it for the world. Taught me some of the biggest and best life experiences and life lessons that I could have ever learned. Any boomsman will tell you that. But you don't have much of a social life. Your crab brothers and sisters are your siblings, upperclassmen are your parents. That was the hierarchy. Um, but again, it was all love. Well, most of it anyway. Wink. So I got out of the boom. It had to be my junior year, and that's when I started to. I think it was John's first year as well, going to Jackson State. I That's when my life started to really enjoy college. Academically, academics always there. You had to maintain a certain GPA to stay on scholarship anyway, so that was no issue. Um, but just being able to experience college in a different way, and I also commuted. So when you commute, obviously you don't stay on campus, right? So that changes things and what your college experience is like. I think had I stayed on campus, it would have been a very different experience, even while I was in the band. But I was very limited into the full aspect of college life because I didn't live on campus. But you probably couldn't tell because I had a girlfriend who lived on campus at the time, so I was also always on campus. But you just didn't sleep there.
Right.
And some cases you did. Everybody bunked in Joe and what was his name, John?
Kevin.
Kevin, yeah, Joe and Kevin's room.
Oh.
So yeah, it was plenty nights like that. But yeah, so my college life was I say it was pretty indifferent. The thing that definitely shaped the trajectory of my life from my college experience, um, learning when it's okay to quit. So I also started in engineering, and that was the first year that Jackson State offered an engineering program. And it was a 6-year program. Didn't know it was 6 years when it started. It kind of just ended up being that way. But I can attest, Sherman, to all those calculuses. I mean, going all the way up to 4.
Oh yeah.
All the chemistries and all that. I was like, you know what? This is not my lane. So I went from engineering to industrial technology with a concentration in computers. That's what I ended up majoring in. And that was a much better path for me. So, that experience taught me that it's okay to, call it quits in certain aspects of your life because it's a necessary evil. You don't want to keep going down a path that is not going to serve you in the way that you need to be served. So I learned that in that capacity. Being in the band also taught me leadership. Not every day is going to be easy, and not everything is going to go your way. So leadership aspects, definitely a thing that somebody needs. You need to know how to be a leader. That just comes with it. I know everybody say somebody got to be a Indian because there may be too many chiefs, but you still need to know what's going on. So leadership qualities is what I learned from being in the band as well. So all in all, my college experience was great. A little indifferent, but definitely helped the trajectory of where I am today, for sure.
One thing I want to say too, that I want to add on, that I guess it was sophomore, maybe junior year. all three of us, we got an apartment together, right?
They did, ladies and
Yeah,
gentlemen.
yeah.
They got an
So
apartment together.
yeah.
That was around
Those
2002.
those are some of the best times of my life for
Oh
sure.
my God.
Oh boy.
For
That was some
different
growth.
reasons.
That was the first time I think all of us were out the house on our own paying bills. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So and we kind of that was our first kind of indoctrination into adulthood with each other. And man, we had some time. Boy, we had some time.
And I'll just go on record and say that was probably one of the filthiest apartments I've ever stepped in. It was I literally would come over and sweep and mop. Do you remember when I used to do that?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
it was just that it was awful. It was terrible.
People
They
leave
had
I
a
would
great
people
say
leaving
that
their
my
time.
skirts
room
on the
was
They
stove.
probably the
lived and they bonded.
cleanest out of the
They did
entire.
all the things, you know what I mean? But it
My
was
room and
really,
Joe's room was probably the cleanest because Joe
yeah,
was
it
never
was.
there.
No.
Yeah.
But my room was definitely the cleanest.
Yeah, it was. It was spotless. And yeah, mine wasn't, but hey, it is
Mhm.
what it is at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that early 2000 time frame was just like a transformation of for all of us. You know, we were all transforming into those young adults and
Yep.
then eventually those young professionals. Because when I think about that time, and I'm glad you brought that up, Jared, it doesn't even like it. I don't even think about that in the context of who I see in these
Yeah.
squares, these boxes here. So I'm glad to say that I'm glad that you all are not those. I'm glad. I'm very glad for all of us, of course. But yes, I remember the apartment. It was
Oh, shit.
filthy. It was disgusting, but it was great times had by all. And I'm
Yeah.
really glad to see the transformation. So kind of moving it a little bit forward to now, I've had everyone on the show at this point. You all are very different. John is just doing amazing things with his DJing and, of course, his job in general. Uh, Jared, you are in a new field altogether. Like you are in this new world, doing new things,
Okay.
experiencing not having a life as a car salesman anymore. Like you have a life like all of us, a 9 to 5 and weekends off.
Man, I
Yeah,
don't even know what
Yeah,
that's
calling
like.
me on the weekends saying, "Man, I don't know what to do with this free time I have."
right.
It's
You
like,
have you
dude,
have the availability now
go
that we've
work out or
had
something.
for a while.
Bruh.
Johnny, you're into this new space of learning how to be a pilot. That's an amazing experience. We talked about that on the show earlier this year. If you all can think about the, I don't know, the stereotypes of a black man compared to your life,
Mm.
what would you say that one stereotype about a black man that kind of eats you up the most in comparison to how you live your life compared to that stereotype?
I'll take that one on first if you don't mind. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned the pilot thing because I go to a black-owned pilot school. It's called Luke Weathers Flight Academy in Olive Branch, Mississippi. Um, I hate the reason why he had to start that school in the first place. Um, Mainly, they didn't think that we were smart enough to fly planes. It's just that simple.
Hmm.
And on a broader spectrum, you can even go far back as the Tuskegee Airmen, where they would not send them on missions that they were overqualified for because there's a simple fact that they were black men and ended up being the best pilots alive. So, just being a black man in today's America hasn't really changed much from yesterday's America. And I don't want to, get into politics or anything like that. But I know that it's important for me to put out an image for my children to let them know that, hey, just because you're black it doesn't mean that you can't do these extraordinary type things that other people stereotypically say you can't do. Not saying that's the reason I'm doing this, but it helps. It does. It helps. So
Yeah.
that's my
I
take
would
on it.
say kind of the same thing Johnny said. I mean, it's It's that stereotype of not being intelligent,
Mm.
not being, a decent citizen. You know what I mean? Like they look at, I say they, but people look at you and they think, okay, well, what he about to steal? Oh, okay, well, he got a gold chain on. He must sell drugs, or, he doesn't know how to spell this word. I don't want to use big words around him. It's the little subtle things like that. Those little things that I kind of pay attention to, that you have to kind of it makes you want to hold yourself up a little bit higher, makes you strive and work a little bit harder, because they're wrong about
Mhm.
us. You know what I mean? And no, I don't live my life to prove them wrong, but if I can be happy and prove them wrong at the same time, it's a win-win for me. You know what I mean? So it's just that's the stereotype, that we're not intelligent and that we're looking for the easy road, all this, we need affirmative action to achieve something, they giving us handouts, but we work hard. We come from good families too.
Mhm.
We study, we're God fearing, we love, we're just like everybody else, and probably more so in a lot of ways. So that's the stereotype of me.
Yeah, yeah. To kind of go off what Jared said, the main thing that I despise, one of the stereotypes, is crime,
Mm.
uh, and being a nuisance. Every time you think it, one of the every race has their stereotypes, but I feel like blacks have the most negative, and all stereotypes I don't get offended by. I don't want to be, as far as us being athletes, that's a
Yeah.
type, but I don't like being subjected to just being an athlete. But however, that doesn't bother me. What bothers me is just being looked at as a nuisance, the crime. Everybody wants to get away from black folks. Everybody wants to move away from black folks, and that's why to go back full circle. That's why I take pride on how I grew up, because we grew up in a middle class, predominantly black area. So we early on, we see past these stereotypes because we lived them, and but being faced in adulthood and just seeing the stereotypes just um, over and over and hitting you on the head, it just doesn't sit well with me, and that's how I live my life now, because I want to go against I live my life trying to go against every stereotype, um, and to prove people wrong. And that's one of my driving forces. So
Mhm.
it is motivation.
Yeah. I'm gonna piggyback a lot of what you all have said, and I couldn't have said it any better. I think I'll just kind of put it in the confines of my life. Um, I've always kind of been that one in the room. And the more we're
Mhm.
having this conversation, I'm thinking about that more. I've always been that one in the room, but the narrative has always been that blacks are not smart enough. We are quitters. We give up. We, don't work hard for anything, and we're constantly, committing the crimes and doing all the things. But I've always been that one in the room that didn't do any of those things. And I'm thinking about even when I got my master's and I got my PhD, I was always the one black man in the room.
Mm.
Always. I got my master's through a lot of odds and a lot of obstacles, but I was that one black man that got the counseling master's degree in my program. PhD, same thing. I was that one black guy in a sea of non-black people, you know? And um, having to always bear the presence of someone who is equal, it can be so frustrating and draining because nobody else has to do that. And so that stereotype of all the stereotypes, I should say, you have to do your very best not to perceive your way to be that way. Not that I do that purposely, but they get so used to seeing what they think who we are that when they see somebody like me, they're just kind of like, oh, okay.
They're confused.
They're confused. And I like to keep them confused. I run circles around them because I'm going to show them I am nothing like what they think I am or what they have thought of me to be. So I like to say that everything that you all have said is something that really just really annoys me. And it drives me to motivate that young black man that I can encourage and I can mentor and tell them the proper things to do so that they don't become the stereotype that others see them to be. You know, I can pass that knowledge on to them, direct them in the right direction, and, you know, give them that guidance that they need to hear because I think everybody can see that all of us grew up differently. We have a bond, we are forged together. And of course, our other brothers that you know are not on this call, but at the same time, we've been able to motivate each other through our own journeys and to get to where we are living a different lifestyle, but remaining motivated in each other to do the very best that we can to, you know, be the most productive individuals on this planet. So, with that being said, gentlemen, thank you all so very much for joining tonight and sharing your stories. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is a topic, but not necessarily a topic. This is more so an observance of a conversation that's been said about Black men, that we are all monolithic. And you all can see from these very different people, we are all very different and we all have different frames of thinking and journeys for ourselves and goals for ourselves. But I think in this particular instance, you can just see how we've been able to motivate each other. Now, I also want to say this for the record, for the other brothers that couldn't join us. We're going to find some time to get everybody on, but I know that this is just a really hard thing to get. It's really hard to get us all on the same.
Oh yeah.
This was even tough to even do this, so I thank you all for doing this. Um, but I know I generally you know, ask particular questions at the end, but I just want to ask this question to end the entire conversation. What is something that you all are grateful for today?
Wow, man. I'm I'm thankful for a lot, man.
Yeah.
You know, I always start off by saying I'm thankful for you guys, my friends, my influence. You know, you guys force me indirectly, but force me to excel in life and everything that I'm doing. I'm thankful for family. Um, Thankful, you know, it's a blessing to still have both of my parents still here with us, and I'm thankful for my daughter to be able to, you know, see where I grew up, run around the house, or you know where I grew up. That you know, can't put a price on that. That's a great feeling. So you know, things are going well. Oh, another thing I'm thankful for. I'm thankful for Biden's student loan forgiveness.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Man, listen.
You know,
Oh man.
that was
Woo.
That's funny. That's good.
I'll
life.
wait. I'll wait to give my personal gratefulness for that one. I'll wait. I'm gonna go back.
I'm thankful for not becoming a product of my environment
Mm,
because
Yep.
I easily could have gone left.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say this, and I know we've been talking about, you know, how we came from a good upbringing and, you know, we had a lot of good opportunities and things like that. But, you know, in between there are some struggles and some major obstacles. So I'm gonna go a different direction. I'm thankful for the struggles that
Mm,
made me tougher. You know,
absolutely.
I'm thankful for that because I'm the type of person that if you hand me something, then I'm not gonna really appreciate it. I'm not gonna really just cherish it and do what I need to do. But if I work hard for it and I'm put in a situation where I gotta work, I excel. And it's made me who I am. It's made me tougher mentally, physically. And it's something that I feel like I'll never let go of what I had. That struggle, whether it be earlier in life, later on in life, whatever struggles I had, because it teaches you something,
Mhm.
and because of my friends that I have, and because of my brothers, you know, y'all help sharpen my mind to keep me from giving in and giving up when there's a struggle. You know, I lean on y'all and it helps me to overcome these struggles. And I'm thankful for that struggle because it's made me better. It's made me who I am.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Yeah, that's
De-
good.
Definitely agree with that. So thank you, thank you, Joe Biden. Okay. Um, Going from a bachelor's to a PhD is expensive.
One
So,
hundo.
so thank you, Joe Biden.
Yeah.
Um, but also, in all seriousness, and I didn't think about this when we were talking, but John, when I got an award at our class night, it was me and Angel Bird. I think it's because we had the top GPAs for a boy and a girl. Your dad had to pin something on me, and he said, Sherman, I want to thank you um, for being in my son's life.
Oh,
And I think this show has kind of mirrored all of it for all of us, for all of us
Mhm.
being in each other's lives to have that as a commonality. I think that was a godsend. So I'm very grateful and thankful to have been in all of you all's lives, to be in all of you all's lives, and to see us all kind of grow and prosper and do great things. Um, Joe, who's not on the show, who's doing amazing things. Williams doing amazing things. Just became a deacon. Teron's doing amazing things. Calvin, of course, we never see him because he's always working. I think y'all saw him sometime during the homecoming. But just grateful for, of course, Jared. You going into this new field, Johnny going into this new space. Pivoting as you do, and John, of course, excelling in your DJing and everything else. Just couldn't be more proud of everybody. So I'm just grateful that we're all good.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm grateful for all of that. And of course, grateful to my mom for, just all the sacrificing that you've done and for raising me to be the person that you all see today. So lots of gratitude to hand around. So thanks again, guys, for being on the show. I think this was a great opportunity. Hopefully, we all can do this again. Everybody, we'll try to see if we can make that happen. Please follow me on all my social media outlets. Go to my website, go to YouTube. You can watch this episode and other episodes as well, and also subscribe to that page. And come back again next week. We're going to have another amazing topic, another amazing guest. I hope you all have a great evening, have a great weekend.